I thought it was great. I thought it gave me an insight to the age that I am now, even though we don't speak about age because age is just a number, as to what's going to possibly happen if I continue to exist. It's like a textbook of like, okay, it's not so bad. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of just saying, stay young at heart. Stay young and live your life always being beautiful and always just staying young at heart. The body may grow old, you know what I mean? But what's inside of us, our soul, everything that we have inside of us will continue to always be young. It's like I have an old truck, The older the truck gets, it's still the same truck, but it still runs and I love it. It's like because you think that you're old in your 40s, but then they made the 40s seem so young. They were just like, oh, I didn't look like that in my 40s, and I'm in my early 40s. And I'm like, wow, I guess I don't really have it so bad, But I can look forward to being 60 or 62 and still looking great. People should see Ageless Wonders because it's going to give you a new paradigm shift as far as how you feel about yourself and how you feel about going through this whole existence that we all go through, and feeling young and feeling happy and always smiling. That is an important thing. And one thing that I really liked how she talked about losing your teeth, because that does happen. And luckily in LA, you can get that all taken care of and anywhere else. I thought it was really great. I thought it was very heartwarming. It was very intimate, and I love that it was just intimate. It was just, it felt like family. Everybody in the show was singing along to the songs and reading what was going on, and just gave me a whole new perspective on how to live.
I kind of just walked off the street into the show. I had no expectations, and as soon as we walked in, these people are like, hey, you guys are like the wrong age to be here. We're like, the wrong age to be here? So we're like, I didn't quite get it. And so it was like Ageless Wonders, and I'm like, all right, so this is for an older crowd. But after watching it, you realize that, yeah, age is just a number. It's just, we made it up. We invented it. And so you got people all stressing out about age and this and that. And so it has a really good message. Mindy has a really good message in her show. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about retirement. We don't want to talk about that. And just the thought when you're in there, I'm like, oh my God, like I can be discriminated because of my age when I get there. And that's not cool. But then the other part that I liked about how she kept it light and she had music with it, with her husband, is that she calls him. And then the other part, there's a lot of parts to it, but the main part was where I was thinking about my parents, about, oh my God, all those discounts that they're not getting. I got to go tell them about it or have them come and watch the show. So, but definitely have them come and watch the show. So, but yeah, I would say it's an ageless wonder, Everybody needs to come and watch it and, take a good look at your life and realize what's more important. It made me start thinking about, oh my God, I need to go see my parents more. I need to spend more time with them. You know what I mean? And you realize that time, we did invent time, but ultimately we can't take people for granted and to really appreciate why we're here and that there's value. If it wasn't for elders, if it wasn't for advice, I'm still getting advice from my dad. He's 85, and it's kind of like he's been there, done that, and there's wisdom with that, and age comes with wisdom. I really believe it. I think younger people need to come see the show because then you start realizing that, when people get like 30, they're, oh my God, I'm getting old. And it's like, well, not until, what about 40 or 50 or 60? And then you meet someone that's 106 still working. That was in her film. So I believe that it's open for all ages, but really I would say younger people need to come and watch it. So the reason why younger people need to come and watch this is because we're entering an age where it's the machine. What's going to happen when your battery life runs out? You know what I mean? And so it kind of puts a perspective on everything and to actually add some humanity to the world. Some people grow old and some people grow, and if you're growing, then you're not really old because it's always new growth. People should see Ageless Wonders to get themselves a perspective of like what's coming down the road, because there's going to be discrimination, and it's not, it's not, nobody understands discrimination until it happens to them. And this kind of prepares you to start getting the ball rolling on knowing that we're living longer as humans, and that, and that there's requirements on people that you're forced to retire. So I would say people need to come and watch the show to get educated and to get connected with the humanity that we have in the world. Young people need to come to the show to realize that, after somebody gets past a certain age, they still exist. You know what I mean? There's still people. There's wisdom there. There's knowledge there, and to learn off of. And so I would say that, yeah, it's a smart deal to come and watch Mindy's show, Ageless Wonders, because it'll reconnect you with, you know, the world. And actually, it's hip to be older if you really think about it, and because they're the ones that started the hippie generation. So.
I loved Ageless Wonders. I loved Mindy. She's just so fascinating that really all she does have to do is just stand in front of the audience and talk, whether it's on the script or off the script. I mean, she is an interesting, fascinating person. I think they should see Ageless Wonders because Mindy in her show is really trying to make people think about taking the limits off aging, that there really is no reason to limit ourselves by a number, and that's not our value. Our value is not in age, but in what we have to give to each other, to the world, who we are as individuals, how we feel about ourselves. I mean, it's so much more than a number. Seems so insignificant and such a small concept when you're thinking about really that we're ageless. I mean, we're ultimately eternal beings, right? We can't be stopped by some numbers that are small in comparison to the guy that she told us about, the barber that's 106. So if you're in your 60s or 50s or 40s or 80s, I mean, he's 106 and he's young. So I don't know, it's just it makes you think and appreciate, like, oh yeah, there is no limit for us, for any of us. We can't be distracted by a number or impressed by it or really hypnotized by it to where it's limiting who we are and how we live our life, because we can't be bounded by that. And I think that's what she's saying. And even science, it doesn't make sense, because she shared the story of the woman who, you know, was looking out the window when her lover went off to war, and years later people saw her, and she never aged a bit because it wasn't in her thought. Her thought would not allow her to age because the body follows the thought, right? So she didn't have the thought of age, so she looked like she was 20. So that's possible for all of us if we say no to, like, these sort of beliefs that are around in the world saying this has to happen. If we say, no, it doesn't, then we can see more of that within ourselves too. I think I understand that idea. I think that maybe that's something that needs to be worked on from both sides, because I think that people that aren't recognizing maybe somebody of that age and considering them as invisible, their thought is on the material. You know what I mean? So it's the other person as well saying, well, what are they focusing on? Are they seeing integrity and honesty and giving and loving, you know, qualities like that? Are they seeing that? And if they're not, then no, they won't notice the other, because they're just focused on the material viewpoint. So I don't think it's just the person with a certain high number attached to them. I think it's the person looking at them that has the issue as well, you know? I think kids should see the show. I think kids, because I think when you're a child, you start celebrating birthdays. And so we as a society, we start teaching children how to age. So if children come, if we start saying, hey, you know what? You are who you are at this moment, and that's all that matters. So if we start educating children, I know it seems like a surprising answer maybe, but children, because we're the ones that are teaching them to grow old. So why don't we stop that and just say, you're valued at who you are now, and then 5 years later, you're valued at who you are now. 20 years later, you're valued at who you are now. And remove that, but we have to start somewhere. And we're teaching the kids before they even know what a birthday is. We're the ones that saying, oh, you know what? You have a birthday coming up. They don't know. So let's send kids to the theater. Love who you are without limits. Love who you are without limits.